Hey Rustaceans, welcome back to another in the series on new programming with Amethyst. So in this video, I'm basically going to show how to get a fly camera working on the Renfaire project that we've been working on up until now. You'll see that Rust and Amethyst, the game engine that is under active development, are telling me that I'm going to want to clean up some of my unused imports, so that's fantastic. And right now I am compiling the game that should come up in just a minute so you can see what I'm talking about. But basically this has been a journey, just the first few baby steps on the journey towards an active 3D construction game. So what do I mean by fly camera? This ability to sort of fly around here and then eventually crash into this cube that we set up last time. That's what I mean by fly camera. This is the kind of camera that I think we want to set up eventually for the game. I'm not sure, but in this video, this is all we'll be doing, is setting up so that we can get this fly camera working and see if I can crash into this. So stick around and let's get coding. All right, so I'm going to start here. Like a bunch of the other videos, there are a lot of resources that already exist to do this type of thing, and we're just going to sort of stand on the shoulder of giants and follow along with what's already been done and just try to innovate as we go along. So the Amethyst project has an examples folder, an examples directory that's full of different things, and you can run all of these, and so it's fantastic. But basically they have the fly camera already implemented, and so what you want to do with this is just and they have it implemented for projects that are a lot more interesting than mine. So basically all we're going to do is go through the run through the example and then follow along with what they've already done. All right, so in a lot of these examples, they have to build a scaffolding to get this set up in an example that's actually runnable. But so sometimes it's hard to separate what you actually need from what they're doing just to get the example running. What we do need is this input RON, which maps the X position, the Y position, the Z position to keyboard keys. So this is your typical WASDEQ. There is a name, a shorthand name for that somebody said to me, like WASDEC or something like that, but I'm not sure. So copy that over into a config input RON as one of the first things that you do. Okay, next is to look at the main.rs file. We need to bring in the fly control bundle here. We also need to bring in Amethyst inputs. Okay, my imports are still kind of a mess. They're sort of all over the place. They're very explicit. But basically what I've done here is to bring in the fly control bundle. I don't need this hide cursor. I just brought that in. It's extra. I'm also going to need the fly control tag. That apparently is critical and was one of the reasons I couldn't get this to work for a while. I need to bring in input. So determine is key down, is mouse button down, and the input bundle with it. So those should be some of the only imports that I'll need here. So bring those into the project. Now, if you remember, we have this simple state is the method on the game state struct. And from our camera entity, well, basically before we get to that, what we're going to do is need this handle event function almost in its entirety from the example, basically taking in data from input and mapping the state event to so let's see. Oh, there is the hide cursor, but it's not actually using hide cursor. Oh, hide cursor is being used right there. So I think I will need hide cursor. Wait. Oh, I actually don't use that. Okay, so I've riffed off the example a little bit. You can follow along from that example if you'd like. I think I had a different version of this, but I'm using I needed an escape And so I am putting the escape to quit out of that, and I'm not using the hide cursor event yet. But basically we are we need this handle event to understand what's going on, which keys are being pressed down in our game. All right, another big piece of this is the fly control bundle. So we just set that to this immutable variable here, and then mapping move X, move Y, move Z, which maps to our input, the axis from our input run. You can put a sensitivity. I've cranked that up just to be able to fly around. You can experiment with this. All right, so now let's look at our game data, which is basically taking the input bundle from the bindings from the key file, the fly control bundle, which we just set above, and that's essentially it. Now the final thing that I needed to do was add the fly control tag to the camera entity, and so the camera knows to pick up the fly control and have it become the fly camera that we saw at the beginning of the video. So a few things, I got tripped up with this fly control tag. I didn't have it and I was just stuck for a while. Let's see if there's anything else. That should be it. And then you basically, after a couple of lines in one input.ron file, have the ability to move around as a fly in your 3D world. So hopefully that's not too confusing and you can figure that out. It's just essentially mapping the keys to how you want to fly around, adding the fly control tag to your camera entity, and then mapping the keys in this fly control bundle. So hopefully that is helpful to you. We'll be back next time trying to make a more interesting terrain. I'm not sure how far we'll get with that, but stick around for the next video. Thanks for watching.